The year is 1951. I live at 34 Menin Road in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, the best country in the world. I am 6 years old and I'm in grade 1 at Cedarville Public School. My teacher's name is Miss Falls. I collect comic books and hockey cards, and I plan on being a cowboy when I grow up. That's my favorite song, the theme from Roy Rogers. Happy trails to you, till we meet again. Happy trails to you, keep smiling until then. Where was I? I am 6 years old, and this is how I see the world. The world, in case you didn't know it, is divided into two kinds of people. There are Jewish people, and there are English people. There are way more Jewish people because about everyone I know is Jewish. There are only two English kids in my grade at school, Kirk Wilkins and Bobby Gould. They are the two dumbest kids in the whole school. And the best at sports. My teacher, Miss Falls, is English, though very pretty. At school, every morning, we sing God Save the King, though I don't have a clue why, because he doesn't even live here. He lives in England, across the ocean, where a lot of English people live. On our street, everyone is Jewish, except Mr. and Mrs. Atwell. Their house is right across the road from ours. Mr. Atwell is in the Salvation Army, although he has gray hair and looks too old to be a soldier. Every Sunday, he dresses up in his red and black uniform, and I stand at attention at the end of our walk, and I salute him. World War II ended around the time I was born. The Germans were the bad guys. Something bad happened to the Jewish people. I don't know what bad happened, but it has something to do with why there are blue numbers painted on the arm of the old woman at our candy store, my Hebrew teacher, and a girl who lives down the street. I bought a little toy car with a nickel I got from a woman when I gave her my seat on the streetcar. I bought the toy car from an old peddler who comes down our street. When my mother saw that the toy was made in Germany, she made me run after him and get my money back, which was not pleasant. My father is a rug salesman, and my mother used to teach at the university, but now she stays home with us kids, except on Wednesdays when she goes to the racetrack with her friends. I have a little sister, Nancy, who cries all the time, and a brother, Lawrence, who's 9 and knows everything about electricity and how cars work. Our name used to be Abramovitz, but got changed a long time ago because no one could spell it, not even us. So now it's Abrams. But my Bubby and Zadie, that's my grandmother and grandfather, are still called Abramovitz. They're very old and they speak funny. That's because they came from the old country where practically everyone is old. One of the things about my father is that he knows everyone who is Jewish. Kirk Douglas is Jewish, Paul Newman, Eddie Fisher, Jerry Lewis, and Tony Curtis, whose real name is Bernie Schwartz. So are Milton Berle, Groucho Marx, the Three Stooges, Eddie Cantor, Sid Caesar, and Al Jolson. Hopalong Cassidy and Roy Rogers are not Jewish, no matter how many times I ask my father. Because we're Jewish, we do a lot of things different than English people. For example, we don't go to church on Sunday. Instead, we eat bagels. My father goes to the Bagel King every Sunday morning. He likes to go because he sees all his friends there buying bagels. He comes home with a big bag of bagels and cream cheese and Lux and tells my mother everybody he saw while he waited in line. Sometimes they argue, which is pretty funny. Like, this is my mother and father arguing. My father says, "You'll never guess who I saw at the Bagel King. Harry Rosen." And my mother says, "No, you didn't." And my father says, "What do you mean, no, I didn't?" And my mother says, "He's dead." He died 2 years ago. And my father says, "You're crazy. I shook his hand. He looked good." And my mother says, "You were a pallbearer at his funeral." And my father says, "You're out of your mind." And my mother says, "Maybe you saw his brother Saul." And my father says, "I'm telling you, I saw Harry Rosen, and he looked good." And the whole time I'm picturing Mr. Rosen like this. He's alive, he's dead, he's alive, he's dead, he's alive, he's dead. And I'm hoping my father is right because I don't want Mr. Rosen to be dead. Another difference between English and Jewish people is Jewish people believe in God. English people believe in Santa Claus. There are a lot of fake Santa Clauses around at Christmas time, but I saw the real one. He came to Toronto, and they had a big Santa Claus parade for him downtown with lots of marching bands and funny floats. I have never seen God, but I think if they gave God a parade, he would come to Toronto too. Speaking of Christmas, we don't have it. We have Hanukkah instead. It's fun, but it's not as much fun as Christmas. For instance, English kids get tons of presents. We only get 1 or 2 or maybe 8. That's how many days of Hanukkah there are, 8. On Hanukkah, we play with dreidels and light candles on our menorah every night. My father says prayers, and my brother and sister and I take turns lighting the candles. That's really a lot of fun. But not as much fun as a Christmas tree. My brother and I asked my father if we could have a Christmas tree, and he said, "Over my dead body," which I'm pretty sure meant no. We have a Christmas tree in our classroom at school. We cut out stuff and color stuff and put it on the tree with lots of other stuff like candy canes. We also sing Christmas songs, and at recess they play Christmas songs over the loudspeaker, and I know all the words. And after school we can join choir and sing more Christmas songs. And we decorate the windows with snowflakes and Christmas pictures, and then we have a big Christmas party, and you have to bring a present for a kid in your class, but you can't spend more than $1. At the party, you have to go to the front of the class and do something, like sing or dance or bring a puppet. I pretended I was a fly, which is really stupid. It only lasted about a second, but a lot of kids laughed. Want to see it? At school, we don't do anything about Hanukkah. We never even talk about it. That's because my teacher, Miss Falls, and Mr. Cuthbert, our principal, and the king are English. At Christmas, all the stores on Eglinton Avenue, that's the big street where we live, put colored lights in their windows and pictures of Santa Claus. And Mr. and Mrs. Atwell, who live across the street from us, they put colored lights all over their house, which is another reason I wish Jewish people had Christmas. My brother Lawrence, who knows about building things, said we should decorate our house. So he made a big Star of David, big, out of wood and put blue and white lights on it. He nailed it to the front of our house and plugged it in. It was beautiful, though not as beautiful as the Atwells. When my bubby and Zadie came over for Hanukkah, my bubby nearly fainted when she saw it. She said to my father, "Oy vey, what's that? Are you Meshuggah?" That's the word for crazy in the old country. She wanted my father to take it down. That's because my bubby and Sadie escaped from the old country because there were too many programs, which I don't understand. They were afraid a program would come to our house if bad people saw the Jewish star, which I don't understand. My father let us keep it up, though, and a lot of Jewish people came down our street to look at it because it was Jewish, and no bad people came. Next year, I'm hoping my father will let us have a Christmas tree, but I don't think so. The end.